everybody. I think we're ready to begin. So welcome to the next webinar today. My name is Michelle O'Sullivan. I am Business Development Director at AWIN UK. I've been in the industry a number of years, most recently, or for a longer time, 12.5 years at AWIN. Prior to that, I have worked both client side and agency side. This is actually my first time presenting at Affiliate Summit, so it's really great to have the all-female lineup. I guess there's a strange turn of events that lockdown and the use of video has made it possible for me to do this, as it's typically quite tricky for me to travel with my kids. Today I am going to cover the emergence of micro SMEs embracing affiliate marketing. I want to really highlight the importance of this segment and how as a channel we can respond to their needs, adapt and nurture. Then to bring some much needed glamour to the occasion, I will be joined by my guest speaker and apprentice winner, Shawn Gabardon. We're going to discuss her own startup journey and how she has adapted her online strategy. And at the end, we should have some time to then have a Q&A for you to ask any questions you may have from me or from Shawn. So micro SMEs can be defined as any business which has under 10 employees. And actually, this size of business makes up 93% of all SMEs across the EU. We've seen a significant ramp up of interest into AWIN over the past 4 or 5 years, and especially more recently where year to date we've been approached in the UK by over 500 advertisers, and that's actually up 30% year on year. Interest from these businesses actually represent a quarter of all new business inquiries that we get. I only expect this to grow as these businesses further embrace e-commerce, obviously expedited by COVID-19, but also the anticipated impact from Generation Z entering the workforce. So these mobile native tech first, fresh entrepreneurs coming in and wanting to launch their businesses online. Here's a chart showing the split by SME type across the European Union. It's taken from the European Commission Eurostat from a report in 2018. I guess even I was surprised at just how vast this representation is. 23.3 million SMEs fall into this micro category. So they're definitely a segment to take seriously. There's a huge untapped opportunity here. For the UK as a guide, 22% of micro SMEs use other forms of advertising and no digital, according to recent IAB research. For those that are adopting digital marketing here, affiliates is only ranked as the 5th most popular paid for activity. So we really need to understand the potential for growth using the performance marketing channel. How can we address their needs and prove and promote its feasibility? And how do we talk about it and really cut through? At AWIN, we tackled this segment head on with the launch of AWIN Access, which is a self-managed solution specifically designed to cater for their needs. And it really allows them to try out how affiliate marketing can work for them. This all began a few years ago when I started my personal crusade to support this segment. I went over to Chicago and visited our sister network ShareASale, which is a network that's been built all around sort of self-management and with strong focus on small businesses. So yeah, really look to understand how they develop their offering to bring those key elements back into AWIN. So with a new solution and SLA sketched out, I then embarked on a fairly extensive pilot period it was 12 to maybe 14 months, where I onboarded over 150 advertisers onto this new AWIN Access proposition. It allowed me to firstly meet some absolutely amazingly passionate entrepreneurs, which was really so much fun. But obviously it allowed me to closely understand their needs and how we had to further adjust our offering for them, which is what we then did. So the latter half of last year was really refining this proposition, and we officially launched in January. in the UK, and because of how well it was received from the end of January onwards, when COVID hit, we expedited the global rollout so that we could support this segment within some of our other markets. So if you're now interested in AWIN Access or becoming part of these programs, we are active within Benelux, DAC, Italy, Spain, and we are also in pilot within France and Sweden. I mean, it's been incredibly successful so far. I mean, the UK micro SME now represents 15% of our base, and already we've seen 40% year-on-year growth, and that's only up to the end of the first half of this year. So from my work with these advertisers, I'm going to define their needs today into 3 areas, and that's simplification, education, and consistency. So if we take a look initially at simplification, so simplification needs to flow through every touch point, but it's imperative that at introduction stage and onboard, and they're within their onboarding experience. So with a limited number of employees, the reality is we are often dealing with the founders of the business who are juggling all the roles, to keep things going. They have much more limited time to understand concepts of affiliate marketing to get started. So they want to really be able to easily see what it will cost and the requirements to launch. And they should be able to complete all their initial tasks within an hour if they choose to do so. To make affiliate marketing attractive and tempt them in on sort of a trial and error mentality, it needs to be seen as easy to activate as a Google AdWords program. If it's easy to plug in and use with minimal effort, it will naturally become popular with these SMEs and adopted. Make it free for them to try, keep price structures and sign up options to an absolute minimum to avoid confusion and potential abandonment. We don't want to bind them into too longer terms because these businesses don't know where they're going to be within 6 months' time. So it's pretty pointless in having 12-month or 18-month terms for these individuals. And lastly, and really importantly, clean out your copy and how you explain affiliate marketing to these businesses. We have to de-jargonize all of the language that we've adopted as a byproduct of being part of the channel for so long. Then on to education. So when selecting an affiliate marketing platform, a micro SME wants to know that it'll be easy to use and that there's going to be resources available to them to hold their hand as they progress. Incorporating guides and triggering email alerts with tips at the various stages through their program life cycles really key, and helping to manage expectation to keep them pursuing growth is really important. Access to fast responding support teams is super attractive, along with the ability to watch digestible bite-sized online tutorials or join in on webinars that allow for live Q&A, or even ones that you can pre-record for them to watch back at their leisure. Quite often, the businesses we speak to may want to watch those in the evening. I think with education, we have to possibly repeat messages and refresh messages to really make sure they have optimum use of the online partnerships that are available to them. And the last is consistency. So they've got a limited amount of time they have to work their program and partners. So they want to learn a tool and for it to remain consistent and familiar with as much automation as possible. So we have to really minimize the amount of changes we make to the technology we offer. And if we do make any adaptations to new features, make sure they're clearly labeled with alerts and tooltips as to why, what has changed and why. Because at the end of the day, if they have to spend further time relearning a whole new piece of software, fatigue and frustration will quickly kick in and they may disconnect and be lost for the foreseeable future, putting budgets elsewhere, which is obviously not what we want to have happen. So the great part of working with this segment is that we have a lovely view of subsector activity that we wouldn't have previously been privy to. So this can include things like websites offering a single product or a very limited range. Here's an example of Mela Comfort that offer weighted blankets for people with anxiety or sleep issues. We also have businesses that start to trend directly in relation to events happening in the world. Here's Skinny Booze. They offer low-calorie alcohol, which delivery, which has been obviously popular and embraced with people during lockdown. We've also got individuals striving to push items that are eco or ethical. Here's Green Bay, they're a vegan supermarket who are doing just that. And lastly, I think what's really important is that we have businesses that are doing their best to promote grassroots brands, which is exactly what AWIN Access is all about. Down Your High Street is a website that brings together, it's something like over 700 high street retailers now, which allows customers to browse a huge selection of items and keeps these local businesses going where they may have had to reduce their physical store presence, or obviously has been the case recently, completely turn to an online audience. So what can these micro SMEs expect if they launch an affiliate program and come on board with AWIN Access? Well, I mentioned about speed. If they want to launch a program within an hour, they can. We see that 46% of programs actually become sale active within 7 days, really fast, and 83% are sale active within the first month. They generate 15,000 in views on average. So that's great, 'cause obviously a lot of these impressions are what they can achieve for free on a performance model, and on average have 40 active partnerships. So far, our focus on these businesses has helped them to drive 3.7 million in customer visits and 8.3 million in sales revenue. I think, my final note on all this is that shopping behaviour was forced to change during this pandemic. And when we conducted a survey via our PR agency to 2,000 consumers, they told us that they are making a conscious effort to shop local. Actually, 59% are trying to do so. So I believe that the behaviour we see now will stick, which is great news, because it will help more and more of these wonderful new brands to survive and to flourish. Okay, so we're now going to move on to the next part of today's webinar, which is an interview with Shawn Gabardon. Shawn is one of the advertisers that we had as part of our AWIN Access pilot. So has been with us for quite a few months now, and she's also one of the winners of The Apprentice. For those of you who aren't familiar with the show, it's something that's run by Lord Sugar, where each year he has a bunch of candidates that go through different tests to see if they can emerge and be his new business partner, and Shawn was lucky enough to achieve that in 2018. So so today we're going to chat to Shawn a little bit more about her professional background, what she's done since the show, and obviously focus a lot on how she's embraced the channel and developed her online strategy. Hi Shawn, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Praying that we don't have any internet problems today.
I'm sure
or doorbells going. Right, so I think we could just kick straight off, and as mentioned, I think a lot of people hopefully watching in today will be familiar with you from the show, but it'd be great just for you to chat a bit more initially about your professional background before you were on The Apprentice.
Yeah, sure. So before The Apprentice, I studied fashion design with marketing at university in Huddersfield. I live in Leeds, which isn't far. And then I decided to get a job in marketing, mainly because all of the fashion jobs were kind of London based, and I didn't have enough money to go down there to start fresh, and I wanted to stay in Leeds. So I started working in marketing. I worked with a company called Intermarketing who deal with the likes of Adidas. So I worked on some really exciting campaigns, and the idea really was for me to learn about marketing in general, and kind of, I always thought I would do something on my own, set up a business in some way. So I kind of thought if I can get a job where I can learn a little bit more about the ropes and see it in play and that kind of thing, it helped me then for the future. So yeah, I worked in marketing, and then I worked in media for a little bit as well too.
Okay. And so like you mentioned there that you felt that was always going to be your goal to launch your own brand. So I guess what was the trigger point when you were like, right, now this is it, I'm going to go for it?
It was very organic, as in I never kind of sat and said, right, today I'm going to set up this business and this is what I want to do and this is how I'm going to do it. I actually had an Instagram account back when Instagram wasn't, as big as it is now. And because I do fashion, I was just making bits on the side, making swimwear, making dresses, and posting pictures on my Instagram. And I just started getting loads of interest and getting messages, and stylists were saying, can we get this in this size? And I thought, okay, this might be where I can kind of do what I've always wanted to do, and kind of set something up. So it kind of just started on social media, really, for me.
Were you hand making these items, or did you have someone that you worked with for producing them at that time?
I was hand making everything myself, which we did. I mean, even with the business to begin with, that's how it worked. It was literally just me until we got enough volume that we were, I kind of got a seamstress involved. And it wasn't until we won the show, really, that we then changed production, obviously, completely. And we now mass production. Everything's completely different to how it was originally. But yeah, we started very small scale.
Okay, well, they need to do a celebrity sewing bee show, and then you can go on that.
I know. I wanted to go on Great British Sewing Bee, but you can't if you've been trained. So.
Oh. So I guess, yeah. So you're at the point now where you are with the brand. So what's the next sort of 3 to 5 years what are your aspirations for the longer term now?
Obviously being partnered with Lord Sugar, it's big, it's huge, it's large scale. So it's kind of been we've been together for 2 years now, and it still feels like for the business, we've just been getting ourselves ready for where we're about to go. As I said, we were working kind of made to order originally. We completely changed the structure. We're now in retailers, and that means that the way that we design and do everything in the background is almost like a year and a half ahead. So we've only just got to a point now where we're like, right, let's push now. We're in a couple of retailers, but we want to basically take over. So the next sort of 3 to 4 years are the more exciting years of us having, getting as many people on board as we can and continuing to grow UK and internationally. Next summer will be a big one for us. Obviously, COVID's happened this year, which has been a nightmare, but next summer will be a big one. Yeah.
And I guess now that you are within some of those retailers, has that impacted how you've shaped the design, or are you very much still allowed to, stay true to the brand? Is there anything that they requested from you that's maybe produce something?
It's quite interesting, actually, that because I think as a brand anyway, you have to have that identity, and you have to be different, and be designing whatever it is that you enjoy and that you like. But I think for me, because of where I want the brand to go and where I see it going, and because we're about female empowerment and being for everyone, and we've toned down the styles in a sense that I want them to be more wearable for everyone. They're not too skimpy, they're not too, barely there. We've got high-waisted, we've basically got a mixture of designs that are for a mixture of people and body types. So with retailers, we kind of go to them with what we have. But I think for me, I make a conscious effort to ensure that the designs are fit for everyone, and we're not just, making them for, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what I would wear 10 years ago and I can't get away with now.
I'm sure you can still get away with it though, Michelle. It's all about confidence.
I think, what I love, like you said there, about having the range is you've also got the modest swimsuit, which covers full coverage. Has that been quite popular? It's very different, I think, to see.
It has. So when I was on The Apprentice, I had so many Muslim girls messaging saying, we really struggle. There's nowhere that does nice modest swimwear. And I actually looked into it briefly, and I was like, literally, it's no one's really taken over that market. So we decided to bring out one piece just to see how it went, and it did really well. So we are still building on that, and I'm basically trying to work out how we can bring that into our ranges, because we want to be for everyone. When I say that, I literally mean for everyone. And it's just so rewarding when you can design something and get the lovely messages saying, oh my god, it's amazing, I love it, I want more colours. So yeah, the modest piece was a really nice piece. I'm really happy that we brought that to market.
And you touched up before about COVID being a bit of a nightmare, and I guess how it's impacted you. So what have you had to do to adapt over the last couple of months?
COVID it's just, I can't even believe that it all is happening, because it's still going on now. We actually started to launch some face masks. We have a small amount of production in the UK, and obviously summer is pretty much cancelled. I mean, we might get a little bit towards the end of the year, but we kind of said, well, what can we do to almost help with what's going on? And you know, we have the facilities to help, and we decided to bring out some washable, reusable, recycled face masks. Yeah, which it was something that I just thought, again, let's just do what we can, and it's such a strange time for everybody, you know, and the swimwear was kind of the summer is gone, so yeah, we've got some, we still have them actually. We do kids ones as well that you can put the name on. They're cute.
Yeah, that's cute. That's cute. Do you think though, are you seeing anything picking up now that people are starting to get on planes again? Like, do you think this is going to be the summer look to have your matching face mask and bikini?
Trikini, yeah, we've got the trikini sets. I think it's definitely, you know, I wouldn't want to say it's a trend because it's such a serious subject. It's, you know, it's not something you want to necessarily attach a trend to. But I do think that if it actually is helping and offering a little bit of protection as well, then why not? And you know, the stuff that we've got on the site, it is picking up now. I think people, because we're now announcing that you can go back away and you can go to Spain and wherever. People are jumping on it, but a lot of people are still quite scared too. I know a lot of my friends are like, I'm not going on holiday anytime soon.
Yeah, me neither. I think, you know, like you say, it's, if it gets them wearing the masks while they're away, then brilliant. Does, you know, if it can look fun, at least it's keeping them safe.
Exactly.
So I think, you know, the audience listening in, I think it's probably going to be a lot of industry professionals, but there hopefully will be other startups or aspiring startups listening in. And it would be really great for them to understand how you approached your online marketing strategy, and if you can tell them a little bit more about how you've developed that.
Yeah, obviously for us, online is huge. We are an online brand. We need to be promoting online. And I guess before The Apprentice, I was, you know, we still had quite a big social following. I'm quite, because of my experience in marketing, I know quite a lot about digital marketing online and whatnot. But there was still a lot to develop, and there still is, to be honest. I think it's just an ongoing thing. But the key things for us, I guess, initially were getting the right people in the product, using the likes of influencers. That kind of thing was huge and still is huge for us. But that was also quite a challenge, because I think, especially when you get a massive investment, you almost think, oh my God, I've got all this money, I can just spend it. And influencers can be expensive if you don't do it right. So I think you need to have a lot of kind of knowledge of that sector. There's also your social media advertisements, which again, we were doing quite small scale before. There's whole new strategies that we kind of work on now. We have teams that deal with that. It was before The Apprentice, a bit more finger in the air, like, oh, I wonder if this will work. Whereas now, you build your proper strategies, and you see what ads are working, you pump more into that, you turn off the ones that aren't. And then I guess alongside influencers, we have our sort of ambassador scheme that we've just launched. Affiliate wise, working with you guys was a big one, because we, you know, it's hard with marketing online. Well, I say online, it's actually great that you can track how well things are doing a lot of the time, and that's one of the key things why having the affiliate scheme with you was such a big success, I guess, in that we could see what the money was going on and how well it was performing.
Yeah, and I think, like you said there, it's there's the trial and error mentality, which you've got to have as a startup. You know, you don't know until you try, but just at how now you kind of, you know, we can embrace, and we have embraced, you know, influencers into the channel, and we can track them on a performance basis, which is just going to make everything work out better for everybody. But yeah, so I guess, you know, you mentioned the brand ambassador scheme. We can share some more information with anybody listening in later on that if they were keen to take part. And I think also because, you know, you've got you know, a female fashion brand, it's a really crowded market. What do you think the biggest challenges have been around that? I think, you know, before we discussed, you know, how difficult it is maybe on the paid search front. It'd be good to hear a bit more about that.
Yeah, I think with paid search and things like that, and you know, when The Apprentice happened and we got the investment, and I was like, right, let me look at all of the different options for kind of online marketing. There were some areas that we tried out, and I just kind of thought, I don't think we're ready for that yet as such. I think that's more when, you know, when you're like top level. But then there were some things like your micro influencers and even, you know, your bigger girls, big influencers, some just worked really well. And, you know, as you say, with the trial and error, it literally is a case of that. And I think for every business, it's completely different. For whatever products you sell, whatever industry you're in, there'll be trial and error in everything, and you'll see some things work amazing, some things you're not getting the return on. And for me, you kind of say, well, let's just put that to bed for now. We could come back to it, but if it's not working yet, let's not blow too much money on it. So yeah.
Obviously you sort of attracted to this channel because of the performance model. You'd obviously done, you know, like you say, you tried a few bits before. So when did you discover affiliate marketing, or I guess how were you introduced to it, and what motivated you to kind of like take that step to launch a program?
I think, as I say, I literally researched all the different options and all the different routes to market and routes to advertising. And, you know, working with influencers, I feel like that's all I'm talking about. But it is, you know, you can get figures before you agree things, but a lot of it is finger in the air, and it depends on the time of day and what's going on that day in the world. And, you know, there's so many elements to it. So being able to work on an affiliate scheme like how we have, where it's fully tracked and it's, you know, you're not just, it's not a gamble in a sense. That was what massively attracted me to working with you guys and to doing what we did. Definitely, and for the board especially.
So with the program, obviously you've got a limited amount of resource at your end, as do all startups. You're wearing many hats day to day. How have you utilised AWIN for developing these new partnerships? Did you think that this channel offers efficiencies for you to access new partnerships in that way?
Yeah, do you know what? It's been, was completely new to this kind of environment, as was the members of the team that was working on it. But it was so easy to understand and easy to use. You know, the platform is really user friendly. You know, I like to talk in layman's terms. I know my stuff about a lot, but some things I'm like, just tell me, like, don't use big words, just tell me how it actually, what that means. And I think using the platform, the way that you can track sales, you know, everything is in there, all your analytics, you can put all your creatives in there, and it's all very simple. And I think especially for like SMEs and people who are new to that kind of thing, it's really helpful.
Yeah, I think, you know, as I touched upon earlier on in the webinar, it's definitely the simplification is so key, because, you know, I always joke that my family don't understand what I do. And so that's my test. So when I'm doing anything, developing anything for the micro SME segment and on, you know, our website, I run it past like my husband or my 11-year-old, and if they get it, I think good, right? Because it really is in principle that simple. It's just, I think, yeah, just cutting through the jargon, basically. Just
exactly,
showing that. So you're at this point with your we are in the year. You've obviously got your brand ambassador scheme about to launch to hunt for some new exciting influencers. Are there any other types of partners that you would, you know, probably publishers listening in or technical solutions listening in, that you'd really love to hear from in the next quarter? And it might be worth you sort of outlining what your target demographic is, you know, and maybe some of the new product lines coming up going into Q3 now or into, you know, the Christmas period that could join your program.
Definitely. So as the brand stands, we are a swim and loungewear brand. We originally was swim. We've brought out a little bits of lounge, which we were testing to see how it did, and it did well. So for later on this year, September time, we're launching some really nice loungewear, then following into next year, next summer swim lounge. So for us, it's kind of like I said, because we've kind of tested the water with things, we're ready now to push. So the loungewear collection that we're bringing out in September is going to be quite a big one that we basically want to get everyone behind. In terms of like partners and things, we're very open to having conversations and just seeing how, you know, we think we could make things work, and that's how we've done it already so far on the platform. Our target audience is sort of 18 to 34-year-old, fashion-y, savvy, Students are a huge one. So I guess it's, we're just quite open to having that conversation. As you mentioned, we've got the ambassador scheme that we want to launch and pull in some new girls that will help promote the product. So if anybody is interested, then it's more than worth us having a conversation about it and seeing how we can make it work well for both of us.
Okay, great. And we should be showing on the screen now your merchant ID. So anyone that's interested in joining up, it's 18583. You can search for Shawn Marie through the merchant directory and apply there. Obviously, reach out after this webinar. Yeah, we did some research on sort of quotes that you've made in the past, and one thing that came up was that you referenced that for you as a role model is Coco Chanel because of her rags to riches success. So do you think it's easier or harder now, thanks to kind of online and e-commerce, for young entrepreneurs to achieve sort of those dizzy heights of success?
Well, I definitely think it's easier in a sense that it's easily accessible to most youngsters, and to be honest, especially with social media, young people are probably more clued up on it than some of the older people now. So I definitely think it's easier in that sense, but then I would say, I guess on the other hand, that everybody is doing it now as well. I know so many people who have decided to set up Instagrams to promote product or to launch brands or whatever, and it's a highly competitive market in pretty much all fields in some sense. So especially fashion is so saturated. I think it's about continuing to bring out products or whatever it is that you're selling to find what's unique about that and to push that, because there are a lot of people doing it, and there are a lot of people, I mean, some fashion brands are all selling the same kind of products just with a different logo on. So you have to find, what's unique about you and your product and push that. But it is, it is a great platform because, social media is technically free. You might want to pay for ads, but it is a free platform. So
yeah. Just looking at the time, I think to wrap up, I guess the last thing that I just really want to ask, because we watch the show every year. Like I say, my son was hoping to catch you to say hello before you disappear, but I'm just, but everyone listening, it'd be great to know, like, you win the show, right, and then you have all the lovely PR, and then you have that first meeting with Lord Sugar and his team, and what must that have been like, and what did he say to you right at the start? How did he guide you right at the beginning? What was it he said to you?
It was interesting, obviously, going from the transition of being part of the show and then actually, winning and being his business partner. We had lots of conversations, but he was very much about branding, very much about making sure the branding is right and prominent, and kind of like what I just said, making sure that the product is in people's faces, but that they can tell it's from you. A lot of people sell swimwear, a lot of people sell whatever, loungewear. So it's making sure that yours is distinctive and stands out. So he was massive on branding. And then the other key thing, I guess, was just the website. It was making sure that the website was user friendly. It was, that's kind of like the base. That's where you're driving people to. So that needs to be strong. But yeah, he was big on branding.
And I guess we have you now to thank that he's now aware of affiliate marketing. So we may have more apprentice winners joining us soon.
Hopefully, yeah.